times will I get like information before it hits the newspapers. And they just called me and told me that Tulare Regional Medical Center has now changed their name to Tulare Intergalactic Medical Center. So we got some catching up to do, folks, all right? We gotta work on that name. All right, this next act I am so excited about. Don Ajluni is an occupational therapist. He is the pride of rehab, and he is going to come out here tonight and do some stand-up comedy for us. Let me tell you, working with this guy, we laugh at him every day. And he's afloat. He's there about once a week, but we laugh at him every day. So, ladies and gentlemen, Don Ajluni. Don, come on out, Don.
How are all you baby boomers out there? Do you realize that in August is the 40th anniversary of Woodstock, the most famous rock and roll concert of all time? All you baby boomers that were at Woodstock in 1969, I want you to raise your hands. Me neither. The official count was 400,000 rock and rollers were at Woodstock. I find that really ironic because most of the 400,000 were so stoned they can't remember much. Yet a recent J.D. Powers survey of baby boomers revealed that 12.5 million baby boomers claimed they were at Woodstock. We really are legends in our own minds, aren't we? Now, I'm a pretty traditional kind of a guy. Another thing I didn't do during my college years is I didn't have an LTA. And for those of you younger folks who are living together with your boyfriends or girlfriends, I hate to burst your bubble, but we invented it. It's the living together arrangement. In other words, shacking up. Now, the other problem here is that the young folks, they don't know why they're doing it. They think they're asserting their independence, they're discovering relationships, they're all these fancy reasons. They don't know why they're doing it. Us baby boomers, we knew why we were doing it, to piss our parents off. Now, I'm a pretty traditional guy. I married a wonderful gal 31 years ago. Now, I don't think she's got too many complaints about me. She does have a little cheap sometimes. I don't think so. Last week, I went to Walmart. I bought her a new toothbrush. That was a nice toothbrush. It had the little rubber pick on the end. It cost me $4. That wasn't cheap. I even got her an anniversary card to go with it. Everybody turn their cell phones off? Good. Okay. Cell phones, those are the most amazing inventions since the original telephone. Don't you agree? I think they're great. I often wondered, though, what would have happened throughout history if we'd had cell phones years and years ago. There are a lot of things that might have been different. Now, the Battle of Trenton in 1777, dead of winter, was the turning point of the Revolution for George Washington and the colonists. What if those two British sentries on the banks of the Delaware River had cell phones? Nigel, wake up, Nigel. General Washington is trying to sneak across the Delaware. Call General Cornwallis, quick. Okay, Stanley. Oh no, Stanley had no bars, I got no reception. What do we do? Nigel, I told you not to get Verizon. I told you AT&T had more towers. General Cornwallis, General Washington, his troops are trying to sneak across the Delaware. Very good, sir. Thank you, sir. That General Washington's got a surprise waiting for him. Things might have been different. And what if Julius Caesar had a cell phone? Mark Anthony, how are you, Mark? Everything's fine here. Yes. Watch my back, you say. Yeah. I've taken care of all of my enemies, Mark. Extraordinary rendition. Very effective. Yes. Brutus? Well, Brutus is my friend. You don't say. I hear him coming now. Thanks for the warning, Mark. Et tu, Brute. Things might have been different. Now, I have been to Rome. I have to admit that. My wife and I went on a lovely vacation 2 years ago. That's one beautiful city. But you have to admit they drive really crazy. And in this country, when people drive and they get into altercations, it gets really ugly. They make nasty gestures at each other. They say nasty things to each other, about their mothers, about their dogs. It's really nasty. In Italy, they do a lot of yelling and a lot of gesturing, but it takes on a whole different character. My wife and I were in the very front seat of a tour bus, going down this hill, coming to a red light. Just before the red light, before it stopped, a young gal on a motorbike cut right in front of the bus. The bus driver looks out the window, arm and head out the window. He yells something at her in Italian. She turned around and glared back right at the bus driver. She yelled back at him in Italian. He yelled back at her in Italian. She yelled back at him in Italian. The light turned green, she sped off. I said to the tour guide, I said, what'd they say? The tour guide says, well, the driver said to the young lady, lady, you drive like a crazy lady, but you're not so bad looking. And the gal said to him, shut up your face. You're not so bad looking yourself. And the guy said to her, he said, hey, I'm going dancing at the Club Florenza tonight. You want to go dancing with me? And she said, shut up your face. Sure, I'll go dancing with you. I'll meet you there at 9 o'clock. My name's Gina. You gotta love those Italians, don't you? I was born here. I was not born in the city as exotic as Rome. I was born in Detroit, Michigan. And Detroiters, yeah. Now, Detroit's not doing too good these days. The auto industry is really in the, you know where. But when I was growing up in the 50s and the 60s, the auto industry in Detroit was king. They made the best running cars. They made the best looking cars. They had the coolest names for cars. They knew how to name a car back in Detroit, conjure up all kinds of cool emotions. Cars we got today, even the Ford Mustang. What a cool name for a car. The Thunderbird. That was great. Even the Dodge Charger. Even the economy cars back then had cool names. The Dodge Dart. My first car I ever had was a Buick Special. When I got it, it was a 15-year-old rust bucket. But when I drove down the street in that car, I felt special. Now, the cars they're building today, they're good cars. They don't know how to name cars. Gosh, Toyota's got to be the worst. The Toyota Previa. But what kind of emotion does that stir up? Isn't that something you take for acid indigestion? And Toyota even has a newer one, the Venza. What the heck is a Venza? I mean, that's something you order at Starbucks. Yeah, I'll have a carbonation mocha latte, please, with a double shot of espresso. Certainly, sir. Would you like the Venza or the Grande? The Venza will be fine. I can't imagine a guy at the gym bragging to his buddy about his new Venza. Yeah, I got a new Venza this week. Great car. Does a quarter mile in 12 flat. 12 seconds? No, 12 minutes. That's all I got. Thank you very much.
I have nothing to worry about. Okay, now just kidding, I'm just kidding, Hey, that's not easy to come up here in the middle of the stage with your peers and just a microphone and no talent. I mean,